So this piece of news is related more to the unfortunate news of what's going on with Toys R Us in the United Kingdom and a majority of Europe right now. It's been announced that Toys R Us is 100% dead and finished in the UK. They are closing down all of their locations, liquidating, everything must go, the whole 9 yards. And it's kind of unfortunate. And I've been reading a lot of threads where people are fearing that this is the early signs of what's going to be happening in Toys R Us in the United States and Canada.
Mm.
There was counter arguments, and I was reading this whole conversation, and it was really fascinating. There was people from the UK giving their opinion, saying that while this is unfortunate, Toys R Us in the United Kingdom, and this is their opinion. If you're from the UK and you have something else to add to it, I gladly correct me, because this is just what I'm reading to kind of ease the worries of some other American and Canadian listeners here. They were saying that in the UK, Toys R Us wasn't so much a big deal, and there actually was other toy selling franchises that were more popular and prevalent than Toys R Us in the UK. Supposedly there was two competitors called The Entertainers was one of them, and another one's called Smith's Toy Stores.
Mm.
And those ones apparently were the better go-to when it came for finding toys, finding newer toys that were kind of absent. They were saying how a lot of UK collectors, when movie toys would come out, in Toys R Us, you get wave one, and then that would be it. And you just sit on that wave one forever. Where places like the Entertainers and Smith Toy Stores would be more known to order new cases of later waves and stuff like that.
Ah,
And they
okay.
were saying like how just the way Toys R Us was handled in the UK was a mixed bag, and there was a lot of weird practices and stuff, and how it didn't make an because there was bigger competitors over there with those two other companies, they didn't even try to compete, and as a result, that's kind of what led to their demise. Where
Ah,
when I think about here, we don't really have something that's a franchise equivalency that goes up against Toys R Us that does that at their own game. We
yeah.
could say, yeah, there is a Walmart, like even from the state, there is a Walmart, there is a Target, there is a Walgreens, and all these other places that sell toys, but there's no one that does Toys R Us's game anymore. We
Yeah,
used to
just
be able to
straight
we
toys
used to be
only.
able to say KB Toys, but that's not the case anymore. So I think that it's something not to worry about just yet from our side of the ocean, because it's different than how the UK is really. And again, the UK, like they just went on to say, like, most Toys R Us's are not as amazing as the ones that are in the United States. They're
Right.
not as well stocked as the ones in the United States. So it's something that's not a shock to them, if anything.
Ah.
So it's something that I just wanted to bring up, even though most of our listeners, according to our analytics, most of our listeners are Americans. For people who are living in the United States and seeing this news and worrying that this might be a sign of things to come in the future for us in the recent, I wouldn't worry about that too much. It sounds like it's just uh, a way that the franchise over there in Europe is handled,
Yeah.
and how it was kind of inevitable by the way it was handled. It's kind of the same way Target not doing well in Canada was not a reflection of how Target's doing in the United States. It
Exactly.
was it was just more the ecology of how Canada was and Target's place in it and
And
how it
then
didn't
also and
survive.
also the fact that everyone else kind of buffed up. They're like, oh, we got more competition, so we're gonna like jockey just to make sure that
Oh
you
yeah.
block them. When
So
they see you
yeah, so
coming
that's
from a
just it.
mile
So
away, it's a lot easier for you to defend.
yeah, so it was one of those cases where I guess when Toys R Us was a thing in the UK, there just was other companies that were maybe more talented in the game over there, to be able to not only keep up with them but be better at what they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, just want to just bring that up. If there's anyone who's from the UK that could give their extended opinion on that, I would gladly like to see it in the comments and let us know, because this is something that I'm not 100% familiar with. I'm just kind of bringing up what other people who live in the UK have said, and it's an interesting piece of information.